Welcome to Haunted Homebodies, where Halloween isn't just a day, it's a lifestyle. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Sarah, and we're your guides through the delightfully dark corners of comfort horror.
I had something that I wanted to chat with you about, and then I could not remember what it was. I was like, I think it's about Scream, of course, because, we can't move on.
Let go. We can't
But
let
I
go.
couldn't think of what it was about Scream. Yeah, I have no idea.
There's never been a snowy Scream.
That would be fun. A snowbound Scream
would be
really
very fun. I
interesting.
feel like, I mean, I don't know how many more times I have to say this, but Scream producers or writers or whoever needs to do this, we've got great ideas for your next movies. We know you're not done.
Do you think it's like maybe hard to film a snowy movie? Because both of the movies we're talking about in our snowbound theme are like so snowy, but you'd think like logistically that might be kind of a challenge, right? Because it's like at the time of year, and then making it actually look like snow because it can't be snow. I feel like it'd be kind of tricky.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. That's true. Because Scream, I don't think those are big budget movies.
Probably. I mean, maybe now they are, but they're also like California, I guess, so it's not super
they're very
snowy. But they went to New York and they had it be October, and they could have had it be like a Christmas.
I want to Scream in every season.
That would be fun.
Yes.
That would be fun to like have year-round watches.
I almost just asked you a really dumb question, which was like, are there any scary movies set during the fall?
What? Welcome to Haunted Homebodies, where Halloween isn't just a day, it's a lifestyle.
75% of them, at least.
Sarah, Halloween's in the fall.
I'm fine.
I hope you know. It's okay. We're doing really well. Let's talk about The Shining.
Yes.
So let me introduce this movie. So we're doing our snowbound theme. We are doing a Stephen King doubleheader, our first Stephen King movies that we're talking about. And I have to say, these are movies that I really liked kind of before, and I think I was trying to be cooler. I was trying to like have an opinion of like, I like good movies, like I was a little snooty trying to be like, like I like Rear Window and The Shining, and I'm like, do I even like The Shining?
I don't know. Probably what you wanted to talk about with Scream was whoever talked about elevated horror.
Yes,
This
feels like elevated, cozy horror from the past. Because it was released on May 23rd, 1980. So this is a bit of an oldie.
Yeah.
A bit of an oldie. That was a very long time ago.
1980.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. And then it was based on, of course, a Stephen King novel, which was written by him in 1977. I have no idea, like, when Carrie was published. He's written so many books, and it's insane. It's like one a year. It's coming out. Prolific doesn't. Yeah, that like word was invented for Stephen King.
1974.
Oh, wow.
Not long before that.
So yeah, I mean, he was just getting started, and they were already like, this was a movie adaptation just 3 years after the book was written. So he was already like cruising. Yeah. And also I realized, so I picked these movies because they're both like so snowy and fit perfectly with this theme we came up with, but also these are the only two Stephen King books I've actually read. I first read The Shining, and then I read Misery, and that's it so far. I have others that I do want to read. His stuff tends to be a little dark for me. That's probably not that surprising. Like, I love him and the concept of him, and he seems like a pretty cool guy, but yeah, it's too much. It's too much
dark,
for me.
and so I've only read 2 Stephen King books. Similarly, not these. I read 11/22/63.
Oh, I do want to read that one.
I can't recommend it.
No,
but maybe you would like it. And
we'll talk more offline about that.
I didn't love it.
No.
And I read The Stand.
Okay, I think I want to read that one too. Do you recommend that one?
I don't think I like Stephen King books. Yeah. I think is just what I will say, which Mason, if you're listening to this, I'm really sorry.
Oh, big fan.
I know you love Stephen King. Maybe you can direct me to a better starting place. But they're like, so Stephen King is like very dark, but also like
slow.
Similarly, like messed up in ways. Like I'm not sure I need them to be messed up.
I thought you were gonna say they're boring because that's always your buzzword.
Okay, so like that is how I felt about 11/22/63. I was like, this is like a time travel book that leads up to the assassination of JFK. Like this is gonna be fascinating.
Great hook. It was slow. Okay.
Oh my god.
I will say I think his writing is fantastic. Like he writes so beautifully about really crazy things. I think he has great ideas. But I would say yes, the pacing is not really for me. Like the use of like he uses like racial slurs sometimes, a lot of language, some he just like
kind of. Who are you, Annie Wilkes? You don't like that?
No, I relate like too much to Annie Wilkes.
Wrong episode.
We'll get into that next week. But yeah, he just I don't know. I think what I'm saying is he writes like the real world things, but I think some of us, when you're like a cis white man, maybe are just like, maybe that's not your word to say, or maybe that's not, as a man, maybe like should be a little careful about like the treatment of women, or like why what's happening to children in your books.
Why so much sex stuff with children? I think that's a hard one for me to get past.
I know.
Not like in a way in which I am saying like I think he's a bad person or anything, just in a like I don't think these are for me.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of like nuanced debate that is like beyond the scope of this podcast regarding his choices. Indeed. But basically he's just like not for us, but also here we are talking about him, and we're about to discuss 2 of his movies that I will say have plenty of cozy things for us to talk about.
Yes.
But let me get into the background a little bit more. So The Shining is rated 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb. On Rotten Tomatoes, we've got a 93% audience score and an 84% for critics. I'm actually a little surprised that the critic score wasn't higher than the audience one. This just seems like a movie that would please critics,
So I was reading, and by was reading, I mean I think I saw like a headline in a first paragraph and didn't read more than that because I'm a terrible podcast host, that basically said like the reception at first was pretty mixed, and since then it has really become this like absolute like lauded classic, but it was not at first.
Interesting. I wonder why. Is it because it's horror, or because it's Stephen King? I mean, Stephen King was just a little baby Stephen King. He, as we said, this is like still the first decade kind of his work being out there, but horror is definitely not.
Well, Stephen King
respected.
Didn't like this movie.
I know. I did read that, which I think is very interesting. And I read about why. I don't know if you did.
I did too, and I think I agree with him.
See, you're a good podcast host. Wait, so what did you read that was the reasoning that he didn't like it?
I read that he did not like the casting of Jack Nicholson because his character is supposed to have this like kind of like slow descent into madness.
Yes.
And he felt like casting Jack Nicholson like immediately removed that. And I agree. Like he seems like a scummy psycho from the beginning to me.
But I don't know if that's necessarily because of Jack Nicholson. Like do you think that wasn't scripted in? Like the way that it was presented in the film, like he was at no point looking like a good guy.
Stephen King said something about like because he had just been in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, people are just associating him with that. Yeah, but I also don't think this.
That's a good point. It was It was just not subtle.
No, not at all. Like from the very beginning, we're like, oh, this guy hates being a dad and hates his family and like can't stand them.
Yes,
and is like not a good person.
Like a little unhinged.
But I read that as well, and I do agree that the character is not nuanced at all. He is not morally gray. He does not seem to be struggling. He does not seem to be fighting against this. He has no hesitation.
Yeah.
He just like lets the hotel just like suck him in, and he's just like, yeah, you're right. I do want to kill them, actually. That's a great idea. Thanks for the encouragement. But I also read that it was like maybe a little personal too for Stephen King because of his history with alcoholism and like drug addiction, that and a lot of these characters, like when you write characters, have like pieces of yourself, and so people speculate that Jack Torrance, was kind of a representation of like that darkness in his past, and that he also didn't like that then there wasn't this like nuanced portrayal of alcoholism and addiction in that way. It just was like you're just a bad person. So like, I think that's also just like movies versus book. Like book has interiority and is going through all of this like grappling, and that certainly, like we said, was not written into the script. But that also is a lot harder to portray in a movie of like that kind of like internal struggle.
Yeah, there's like some nuance and subtlety missing there. I've only ever seen one other Kubrick movie, which I had always forget that that's who directed The Shining. But I don't think like subtlety is necessarily his thing.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any of his. I was trying to look and be like, is there any that I even would want to watch? Like, I don't think so. I don't think his stuff is for me, really. Yeah. And there's more to that too that we'll maybe touch on with just like his treatment of Shelley Duvall, and like I was reading weird stuff on the internet being like, that's been debunked, like he didn't mistreat her. And I'm like, and people's argument was basically because she like said in a final interview like later in her life that she really respected him, and that it was like a good experience overall. And I was like, that does not mean that he didn't mistreat her.
Like not even a little bit.
No, just because she's like, oh, I like understood where he was coming from, and like it ended up being like a growing experience.
Abused woman excuses her abuser.
Yeah,
wow,
that's never happened before. So yeah, a lot of questionable or even things
let me take that back a little bit, because we believe women.
Yeah,
but also like maybe she just wanted to move the fuck on.
Yeah, and maybe like there was like nuance to that too, right? It's like she wouldn't want to do that again, or like it didn't maybe feel necessarily abusive to her, like, or like she didn't like blame him for, you know what I mean? Like just because it was like from the outside seems like she was really mistreated does not mean that like she had that experience or blamed him. You know what I mean? It's like it's hard to like, I don't want to put words in her mouth. So it's like just because she said that, she was okay with it doesn't mean that like objectively the behavior is okay. It's like her experience is her experience, and that's her life. But like you just shouldn't treat people horribly on set. That's happened so often, and also in that time period happened so often to women,
Right. I know, it was very common, and she probably excuses some of it because of that too.
Exactly. It was just kind of expected that you were just treated the way you were treated, and that just still happens. Like you hear that about so many different people still. Like I remember hearing that about like the Duffer Brothers on Stranger Things, that they were abusive on set. It's just like directors just have to walk this line, right, between like wanting certain performances and bringing things out of people, and then just like not being dicks.
Who I've never heard that about?
Wes Craven.
Oh, I was gonna say David Lynch.
Oh yeah,
and he's like a total. Well, they're both total weirdos.
Yes, and that's why I said like Wes Craven, like in the book that you bought me that I talk about in every single episode. Your favorite scary movie by Ashley Cullins. I don't know if you've heard me mention this before, but they talk about how great Wes Craven is. Like they're in these they're in a horror movie, and you need to act scared, you need to be crying, and like him and Drew Barrymore had this thing where like she would want to really be crying, so he would like say some like awful, I don't know, something about like I don't even remember, but it was like something about sad and dogs. That would totally work for me too.
Yeah.
And to get her to cry, and so it's like from the outside you're like, that's really messed up, like he's saying this like awful thing, and but she's like no, I want you to say this to be like to make me cry. But everyone talked about how he was just so respectful, and he like wanted excellence from people and was able to get it out of them in this like really gentle way that still like respected their input and the fact that they're people. Like it's possible.
It's
bottom
possible.
line.
Yes.
It is possible to get great performance out of people without psychologically abusing them. Go figure.
Imagine. Which, like, okay, I feel like you said we were going to talk about this later, but we're going to talk about it now.
Yeah.
The little kid. They, like, left him out of so much of the film. Yes. He had no idea what the story was. Like, they made sure it wasn't scary for him. And that is one of, if not the best child performances I have ever seen.
Yes. I know. And he looks incredibly terrified. I don't know what they were telling him to get that performance performance out of him. I also looked up the actor and was like, how are you not in anything else? You're so good.
I know.
And his name is actually, I have to look, I put it somewhere, but his name is Danny something.
Danny Lloyd.
He plays Danny. Okay.
Yeah.
He just like went on to teach and just had like a quiet life.
Good for him.
I know.
That.
I know.
Iconic.
Like doesn't like is very private and like we don't know much about him, but yeah, incredible performance. I was trying to remember the first time I watched this and I don't remember at all. I just, like I said earlier, remember just being like, this is one of my favorite movies because it's like cool. It's like a cool movie to like. And I'm watching it and I'm like, I don't know if I ever want to watch this again.
That seems fair.
It's just
here
not
we are.
Quite for me. But let's talk about some good things and some things that are cozy about it because that is the key to everything. In our podcast.
Yes.
I found pretty much the whole first half of the movie to be like very cozy in general. Of course, there's still Jack Torrance being sketchy and rude, and like we're getting some like kind of dark backstory of like Wendy trying to like clearly cover for his behavior.
Oh
yeah, which is not great. But in the background we have beautiful wintery amazing shots. We also get a nod to the Donner Party, which is fun. They're driving up to the hotel and Wendy is just like, hey, isn't this like where the Donner Party was? And then Jack just like inappropriately starts talking about cannibalism to his child,
who apparently already knew about cannibalism. So that makes it okay. The kid has known a lot because he's got The Shining.
Well, that's true. Yeah. He knows all. I think the Overlook Hotel in general was extremely
I would love
cozy.
to stay there.
Yes, I would too. Great decor. It's got the big windows overlooking like the snowy scenery, cozy fires. Like I like how we go first to the hotel with people in it, and then we kind of get that juxtaposition between like the hotel just feeling like lively and warm and fun, and then it just being like empty and getting more and more scary. I also really enjoyed the 70s and 80s aesthetic. Like we've got just that whole era in movies. I love the way it's shot. I just love the clothing choices. I love like the color schemes. I also just do appreciate, like we were kind of making fun of this being elevated horror, but I actually do like this kind of pacing of a movie. Like this was a lot of character development. And I do appreciate that. Like I actually didn't find this boring. Like I found like a lot of the conversations really interesting and like adding something to the plot and moving
everything
it forward.
Felt intentional.
Yeah. And I think, for better or worse, Kubrick does just do like a stunning job with like the visuals and the details. It's good in that way. And then we've got like the whole typewriter writing aesthetic, which is always going to do it for me.
Movie would not be what it was without a typewriter. Imagine that happening on a laptop.
Yeah, that would be so weird. Lame. Also, he just like doesn't write at all. No. But it's there in this beautiful big room and it makes me want to write there.
Right? Yes.
But yeah, we don't actually really see him doing anything aside from like looking deranged, staring off into the distance, and then
he does
like
a good job of that.
He looks incredibly deranged the whole movie. But before we get to that, Danny and Wendy, super cute and cozy
adorable.
Throughout the whole movie. They're so sweet. She's like clearly such a good mom, like always playing with him, engaging with him. Like she's not off doing other things, stressing. Like she's like, let's go outside and play, let's go in the maze together, like just so present with him. And they're both so cute. And then you included the line about Shelley Duvall's character. Why can I not think of her name? Wendy. Wendy. I just said it. Jack actually says to whoever's interviewing him at the beginning that Wendy is obsessed with ghost stories and horror movies. And I'm like, that's so random. But like, we are her. She is a haunted homebody. We love her.
Yes.
We
honorary haunted homebody. She's from Texas, by the way.
I did not know
the
that.
Actress. I don't know where Wendy's from.
Yeah, I don't either. Where are they from? Where were they moving from? I don't remember.
I think Denver.
Okay. All right. So they were in Colorado. I think and then just going into the mountains. We already mentioned Danny, played by Danny Lloyd. Amazing performance. And then last but not least on my cozy list is the chef, Dick Halloran.
Oh my God, he is amazing.
He's so
R.I.P.
cute. I know. I do want to circle back to that later because that is in my not cozy. Do I even like this list? Because that is deeply upsetting to me. Do you have anything to add to my very long cozy list?
No, I think that is a really solid list. There is like something about like before I watched this movie again, before I rewatched it, which I have seen this movie before, actually, for once. I have seen this movie before.
That's good.
But I was like, oh, I wouldn't want to be in like a big hotel all by myself because like hotels used to, like, I remember growing up, hotels were like so exciting and like cozy feeling. And then like I had many jobs in which I traveled for work all the time. And now I hate hotels. And I was like, no, this isn't going to be cozy. I would stay in a hotel for months. It was magical. I would love to have the run of the whole thing and like the big kitchen. I loved it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I actually put a question in there for later, but we can do it now.
Okay,
like, if me and you, if we were offered the job and they're like, you guys will pay you, whatever desirable amount, and it's just like just you and Ashley. We'll pretend that this is before the era.
Pre-husbands.
We had families.
Pre-husbands. Pre-Jed. Yeah.
Yep. Pre-animals. And they're like, you guys just have to stay here for 5 months. Just the two of you. You won't be able to get in or out. Like, do you think we would have a good time, or do you think we'd descend into madness?
I think we have already descended into madness. I think this might heal us from the madness.
What a vibe, too, to be we'll say we're podcasting then, too, from the haunted hotel. Maybe we have a few little cameos from the ghosts, and they're like trying to get us, to lose our shit. And you're like, girl, we're already gone. Like, just chill, hang out with us, have a good time. Yeah, no, I think I would enjoy it, and I think it would be very healthy for me. Like, during COVID times, the like not having to go out much, I like actually was thriving in that way.
Yes.
Yeah, at the beginning, the isolation, awful. The stress, that was all really bad. But the like not having as much to do.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it. Yeah, this is very like COVID coded. Yeah.
Yeah. It was hard for me to relate to the like you'll get cabin fever and like all of a sudden hate your family and want to like kill them. I was like, there's obviously that I could never understand, but the like just getting cabin fever and then like feeling like cooped up and I don't know. I'm like, this sounds great.
It sounds amazing. I could
great. You got all the
that.
food you need, beautiful views, so much space to explore.
Yes.
But I guess, when you have a psycho husband who's terrifying and then some like really, really crazy ghosts.
That's not who I want to go with. But you and me, let's do it. Let's leave tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll go back in time and then we'll do this. So yeah, the not so cozy aspects. I just mentioned Jack Torrance. He is freaking disturbing as heck throughout the whole thing. You mentioned at the beginning when he's getting interviewed, he's also being harbinged about the hotel.
Yeah,
it's not even that subtle. I mean, they're basically just like, hey, there's this horrible past to the hotel. And most people would just be like, oh, well, yeah, like bad things happen. So I guess it's kind of like, if you don't believe in ghosts, if you do believe in ghosts, he clearly doesn't care. But he maybe was like excited by that because he's already seeming kind of disturbed. And then we also see right from the beginning, Jack acting like very sociable and polite to everyone who is not his family. And then he like flips the switch and is like so rude to them. Like it's I can't stand it. I can't stand his character. There's no morally gray here. He's just a horrible bad guy. And then in the movie, there's also just like some problematic tropes and some like very dark themes. We've already mentioned him just being kind of an abusive husband, father, prior to even his descent into utter madness. But we have got the Indian burial ground trope, which is just so like
nothing to do with the ghosts. They're not Native American ghosts.
Nope.
Like that was so unnecessary.
And also like I don't really remember the book, but I'm pretty positive that was in no way mentioned in the book. Like, he gave a reasoning that would have been very easy to explain in the similar, like, maybe it wouldn't have been able to be in one sentence, but there was like mob activity, violent crime, just like things happen, like bad things happen in hotels. Yes. And it's just like the lingering spirits of people who died in the hotel. Like, that actually makes sense for then what to come. So that was like completely unnecessary. The use of racial slurs in this movie really, I know, is heavily debated from what I saw on Reddit as to like they serve a purpose and they're used deliberately, and also like I did not want them in there. I just didn't like that. And then, you know, it's just like very dark with the domestic abuse theme, family annihilator theme, and then they're also
it like really felt like it's supposed to be a paranormal horror story, but it was just a domestic abuse story.
And it just felt kind of like metaphorical in that way, which I guess is the elevated horror aspect that we are referring to, right? Is that like all of this just felt like a larger metaphor for their relationship and his mistreatment of them. And then there's also just scenes that just like give me like the yucca vibes. Like the ghosts are just like pretty gnarly and like up to no good.
Yes.
And I don't know, in just kind of like weird, disturbing ways. The bloody elevator, I think, is actually kind of cool. It's pretty gross.
I mean, it's so iconic by this point. There are so many iconic parts of this movie. I'm gonna go on a small tangent where like it's really interesting watching it now, because it's almost like you want to roll your eyes because you're like, oh my god, look at this trope, and then you're like, oh no, this movie created that.
Yeah, totally. That's so true. And I think it is one where this isn't the first time I've seen it. There's like such a familiarity with this movie that shock value is hard to, I don't know.
Yeah. Even if you've never seen this movie before, you are going to know
a lot of it.
Quite a few scenes, like direct scenes from it, from like all the pop culture references and the memes and everything.
It's so true. It's so true. You mentioned in your notes that you thought the naked lady bathroom scene was really great. So tell me everything, because I hate that scene so much.
Well, let me start with, that is the bathroom of my dreams. I am
You're like, it's not about forget the naked lady.
No, we will get to the horror element. But the green with the purple and the orange and the little like alcoves and the like built-in tub shower that has like the archway over. Oh my god,
I'm gonna have to watch that scene again, because like I don't remember anything about the bathroom, because I just was the whole time was like, oh no, it's the rotten lady in the bathroom.
Oh my god, it is like this like color drenched bathroom, like floor to ceiling.
Yeah, I'll have to
dream bathroom. But I do think the like, oh, it's a hot naked lady. Oh no, it's a decaying elderly woman. I just thought was very interesting, because that feels to me like Jack's first unhappy thing that happens to him in this movie, right? Like, not a lot of bad things happen to Jack besides like Wendy kicking the shit out of him because she is a badass. Like, she is so good. But like otherwise, like the haunting, like, unless you think that it is a consequence that he goes crazy and tries to kill his family. But you know what I mean? Like, he like is mostly going along with it and he's good.
That's
like, this is like this like really interesting twist against him. And I think is another thing that like we've seen as like a trope in other movies, but I feel like probably originated here.
Yeah. Okay. No, you've kind of turned me around, because I didn't think about it that way at all. That the hotel is very much on his side in general. And so you like, except for maybe this one ghost,
doesn't make
she's
sense,
messing with him.
Yeah.
No, because she also hurts Danny or gets him to hurt himself or whatever happened in that scene that we don't see. We just know that he was injured after going into that room. But yeah, that's a really good point. Like, she's like, no, even though you're like the surrogate for doing our ill will, like, I just want to kill everybody. I just want to bring harm to everybody, including
and she
you.
really just like, it really just messes with him. She's like,
that's true.
You made out with a decaying corpse. Like, that's kind of it.
Right, but also she's just like a ghost. So it's, like, it kind of, there's so much in this movie where it kind of reminded me a little bit of Twin Peaks, where I'm like, am I supposed to understand what's going on? Or I'm like Googling things, being like, I remember being confused about certain things, like the paranormal aspect of like, I just don't kind of get it. Like when the ghosts somehow unlock Jack from the freezer, and then how Jack is like in the picture from years and years ago, like things like that, where I'm just like, it's not really established. Like, it's established in this movie that the ghosts cannot touch or harm them, that they cause this, like that Danny was like maybe choking himself because of like this confusion and, really terrifying things that are happening. I don't know, but then they're like manipulating the environment. It's confusing.
Have you seen Dr. Sleep?
No, I have not.
I don't remember it that well. I saw it, I think, like shortly after it came out, and that was a while ago at this point. Which for our listeners is the sequel to The Shining. And interestingly, so Stephen King wrote Dr. Sleep. It's another novel of his, but the movie does not follow the novel very well. The movie version of Dr. Sleep that they made, which is directed by Mike Flanagan, who did like Midnight Mass and The Haunting of Hill House and those shows.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
He like kind of combined the novel and what it would take to like make it a direct sequel to the movie, which is very interesting. So I'm giving all of this introduction as though I'm about to like lay some knowledge on you. I don't remember it well enough, but I do remember like the whole point of this movie. Like Danny is the main character, and so it like explains more of like what The Shining is.
Yes.
I also do remember really liking it.
Okay. Yeah. I do remember people saying that it was really interesting and good, and maybe I will watch it because I have questions that I would like answered, because how I like to know. I like to understand. I want it to make sense enough where it at least all follows the same rules. Like within this world of the Overlook Hotel and of the movie The Shining, I want things to make sense so that I can suspend my disbelief to believe these crazy things are happening enough. Like my brain needs it to all fit together, at least in some way.
Well, yeah, because like showing Jack in the picture at the end, I was kind of like, okay, like that just felt like it felt random and like, oh, you're just like trying to give us one last trick, but like, does this mean something? I still don't even know. Internet, for sure. Here's another opportunity for you. Come at us in the comments if you have an explanation. Just tell us. I've even
read some, and I'm kind of just like, like, that he was always there, or that now he's there forever. Like, it's very metaphorical. I don't know. I don't think I just. Also, it was just like zoomed in on as if we're supposed to like understand. They're like, notice him. Yeah. Look who it is. Look who it is. Look who it is. Where's like, whatever. Anyway, the last thing that I will say for now of like not so cozy things that I don't like, and this is something that happens in Stephen King movies. It is something that I will discuss again next week because I hate it and think that maybe this movie could be salvaged without this, in terms of me liking it as like a comfort watch, is the fact that characters are often unceremoniously and very abruptly killed, and they are the coziest and most likable characters in the movie.
Fuck, Stephen King.
I hate that. Like, if Dick Halloran had just been non-fatally wounded, if he flew across the country to help this family.
What was the point of him getting there and that whole plot?
He did technically save Wendy, right? Because he arrives and makes a ruckus, and then Jack has Wendy trapped and is about to kind of like get in there. So then he goes, and like then she's able to get away. Yeah. So he does save her life, but then that is it. This like wonderful, sweet, selfless man who flew across the country, partially because he just had the connection with this child who also has the shine. The Shining. I don't know if you can just call it The Shine.
I don't remember either.
I'm like on a first name basis with The Shining. Okay.
Tony. He's got Tony.
Tony. Yeah, but I hated that. He's just killed instantly, and then like he's just dead and gone, and like I don't know. I just also really hate that like lack of appreciation for like this wonderful character to then be killed just so others can live, but then the others who live don't even have the chance to like appreciate or like I don't know, have any sort of moment. I just didn't like that.
And you know, like, I recognize there's a lot of horror movies who think it is like their job for not everyone to survive.
Yeah.
And we are a cozy horror podcast. And I think like stuff like that is what really answers the question for us of like, is this overall a cozy movie or not?
Right.
Yeah.
Like that, like I said, if he was like non-fatally wounded or was like injured, and then they were able to just have some sort of like moment for him.
Yes.
There was no moment. Like he just like, it wasn't even like, oh, then, you know, like he says something to Wendy and it's really meaningful, or she's able to, you know, like there's just nothing. It's just like, oh, it's just kind of like thrown aside. And it's just not that type of movie also. Like this isn't a slasher. This isn't a character that we've met for 5 minutes and we don't care. And we're like, it's designed to make us not care.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all. And, you know, that was it. I'm like, and you know, I am just mad.
I do know.
I am just mad. Okay, so in the battle of like cozy versus not cozy, I don't know. I think it really is a mixed bag. I think it has some of those comfort cozy moments and some cozy horror moments, but overall, I just don't know if it hits that right note for me.
Yeah, I would not watch this as a comfort watch.
I don't think so. It feels like it should be, though, and I don't know why. Like, it feels like it should be. I think because, like, I'd watched it so long ago and, like, really thought that I liked it.
You're trying to...
I've changed.
You're trying to defend your past self, saying this is your favorite movie.
I don't think I ever said it was my favorite movie, but it was definitely one where if they were like, what kind of scary movies do you like, you know?
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know what I was all about. Did you think that this movie was scary? You said last week that you thought that maybe The Shining was going to be one of the scarier movies that we've covered.
I don't remember how I felt about it the first time I watched it. I have to imagine I felt some suspense.
Yes.
But like this time it didn't feel scary to me at all.
Yeah.
I don't think it's familiar.
Yes. I think that's a huge part of it is the familiarity. I do remember being scared at 2 parts, and I still think that they're tense. So when she is trying, like when Jack is chasing her, well, when he's going up the stairs and that scene that has like the world Guinness Book of World Record for most takes, and that was part of the like mistreatment accusation. They shot that, I guess, like 127 times or something. And you know, she had like apparently like abrasions on her hand from just holding the bat. She was exhausted, like physically falling over because she had to do that so many times. I mean, that is so scary. Like she just like has this little bat, and this her husband, who, you know, she has like coexisted with, maybe loved at some point.
I think she really recently, did love
or still
him.
did. Yeah, for like he didn't deserve it, but
no.
Yeah, and then he's just completely turned on her. Oh God, I was like, there were moments where I just was like, I think this is just too dark, because I felt so bad for her. I was thinking about when she's like, yes, like talk about like just like your son is attacked. You think it might be your husband. There's no one else there. There's no other like reasonable explanation. Then she thinks there's an intruder in the hotel, and then her husband. Like it is like the most stressful, like horrific. Like you can't go anywhere. You can't get out of this hotel. Like, oh.
So here's what I think it is. I feel her like despair more than I feel
like, what am I going to do?
Which let me just like get up on my high horse and talk about what a spectacular performance she gave.
Yes.
And I feel like that's so important to say, because people thought she was horrible. This was the first year of the Razzies. She was nominated for Worst Actress, which they did rescind years later when they found out how she was treated. But like, I think that her performance in this, start to finish, so it's not just when she was like being manipulated into being scared. Like her relationship with Danny is so good. The way she kind of excuses some of Jack's behavior is like very subtle and good. She's this like very sweet character, and then her like terror and despair is so well done. I just think she's phenomenal.
I agree. I like, what is bad about it? I don't understand. I don't even understand where you came up with, especially when you see other movies that are out there.
Yes.
And you're like, the acting is horrible. Like, how do you come for this woman who like did this incredible
I don't even think
performance?
it's not over the top. It's all like absolutely appropriate for what is happening.
Yeah,
she was so good.
I agree.
Yeah.
I remember being younger and less mature. Shocking. It's usually how it goes. And thinking like she was like really poorly dressed and styled. And
oh
like,
my God,
I'm saying
now
that
I want her wardrobe.
I know. I like her, and actually I really wanted I really wanted Kathy Bates in Misery. I wanted Annie Wilkes' wardrobe, aside from the little crucifix. But I was just like, this is so cozy. She was wearing all these like turtlenecks and layered moments. Yeah. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wendy's like brown corduroy overall dress.
Oh yeah.
Yes, please.
I know. And now I think she looks great. But I do remember being like, she's so frumpy. Like, well, I don't know.
Which is like hilarious because I'm sure that at some point I also felt that way. But think about what we would be wearing if we were in a hotel alone for months.
It would be atrocious. We would not leave just mismatching pajama sets. I know. And it's so funny because I also think when you're younger, you see like vintage looking movies and clothing and you're like, oh, it's so like dated and old. It's like what old people wear. And now I'm like, I only want to buy like vintage and go thrift shopping and wear like cozy full coverage like baggy outfits.
Also, her haircut like looks kind of messy, but like that is like what people go to get their haircut like these days. Like the like layers and the way they like come forward into her face and all of that.
So true.
Like, very stylish now.
Yeah, she was incredible, and anyone who says otherwise is just ridiculous. That's all I have to say about that. But we got like so far off track of the point I was originally trying to make.
Sorry, which was my fault.
No, I did it too. I already like took us way off the trail, but I was trying to talk about it being scary and the point where he has her. So they go up the stairs and then he's chasing her and then he's like hacking down the door in the bathroom. Like I do remember that being scary. And then I also really remember feeling scared when he's chasing Danny through the maze.
Yeah.
That is really,
oh my God. And Danny being like smart enough to like back through the tracks, his footprints in the snow.
Oh my God. Brilliant. I remember being like, yes, but also like you don't know. Like that's the thing I love about movies and the way that they shoot things is you have no idea if Jack is like a couple feet away from him. Is he just trailing him? Is he like way far away?
Danny doesn't know.
Yeah. The maze thing was great. I thought that was a great way to ramp up the tension. And I also just love how Jack just like couldn't figure it out, just died out there.
That is like a truly great horror movie ending.
Yes, that's so atypical. Like there's no coming back for another round. Like they get out because they've already like been there, done that. They go out in the snowcat and he's just like still wandering around the maze and just like dies out there.
Yeah, I love it.
Great. I love it. No drama, no fuss, no muss, no jump scares.
And he's like really the only scary part, I think is what we're saying. The only scenes we were scared in were Jack scenes. Like the creepy twins, the like tricycle scenes, the blood in the elevator. Those are all really cool parts of this.
Yeah.
They're creepy. Don't think scary. Yeah. No. They have like creepy vibes.
Yeah. And they're dark. And I think that's part of what makes this movie less of future comfort watch for me is that it's more dark and creepy than like scary, funny, warm.
It also does feel really long to me, and for a little while I was ready to come into this episode and be like, I just don't think that like a comfort watch for me can be this long. And then I was like, oh wait, I will watch all 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
Nice try. I honestly think though, like I said, that I found the pacing very comforting in that way. Yeah. This has like it's so close to being a great cozy horror movie for me, and there's just like a few things that I think I just like can't get past. That just doesn't hit. But I don't know. It was good to revisit it. It was really interesting to rewatch. this movie after becoming a mom. There's so many movies that like before and after, and like just seeing like this little boy and his mom and like what they went through, it just like I'm like, okay, so this is just like not a thing I can handle anymore. Even though they're both like so self-sufficient and tough and like get the job done, and you know what I mean.
They're
it's
gonna
like
deal with this trauma for the rest of their lives.
I know. It's so harrowing. It's too harrowing.
It is. Harrowing is a good word for this.
That is the like snowbound. It's a snowbound theme, but also just like the harrowing snowbound theme. Yes. Everything we've covered is so harrowing.
Oh, too true. Too true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah.
You got any closing thoughts on this one?
No, I got to get on my high horse about Shelley Duvall, so I'm good.
No, that was really important to say. I did not know that she was nominated for a Razzie. That is like actually disgusting to me.
What movie were you watching, people? Phenomenal.
Ridiculous. I would like to know their reasoning because I bet they just don't have any.
I bet there's a little sprinkle of sexism in there. And everyone thinks like Jack Nicholson was amazing in this. Like, I'm not saying he's not, but I am saying he had an easier part to play.
It was very one note.
Yes.
And it is a note that we know he's good at. This is like, that was Stephen King's whole point, right?
Right. Yes.
Is that he nails this deranged, detached,
like 50%
psycho.
of it is like just like what he looks like.
I don't know. That's pretty harsh. But...
Not like his looks. I even like wrote a note about like how refreshing it was that like he has a receding hairline, and this was like back in the day when that was like not only acceptable, but like some of like who was recognized as the most handsome men in the world had a receding hairline, and everyone wasn't like trying to do hair transplants and everything. And I appreciated that about it.
I do miss the 80s and 90s when like actors and just looked like people, and they looked different. They just were like normal. They weren't still like good looking if you put them in a lineup with like Joe Schmoes. But just like normal, good looking, talented people. They weren't like, I know that is.
I mean, Shelley Duvall is like another great example of that. Like, I think she's beautiful, but she is like a very different type of beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the criticism too, is that she wasn't, even for that time, like the typical Hollywood beauty. And then the way that they made her into this kind of like almost frumpier looking wife to kind of like add into that, if that was some kind of like discrimination against her not being some like bombshell wife.
Probably.
Oh, that would be so Hollywood. What can we say to end this on a good note?
The chef was super cozy. Oh, I think that I'm just gonna like spend the night daydreaming about what it would have been like if pre many responsibilities life you and I got to go to this hotel and just hang out for many months.
Oh my gosh. Just in the snowy winter, we just got to read books, record podcast episodes.
Write on a typewriter.
Yes.
I'm not even drawn to writing, but I would use the shit out of that typewriter.
We would figure it out. We'd form a writing group just because we have, like, what else were we going to do? We'd do fun recipes. It would be, it would be great. Well, we will still be snowbound next week and talking about our next Stephen King movie, which will be Misery. So we'll see you there.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Haunted Homebodies. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
And remember, when in doubt, just stay home.